Hello there, my friends. Welcome back to another Stark video. It's Topical Tuesday, which means we're taking a look at the Reddit and we're taking a look at the top posts over the last week, seeing what's been happening, seeing what's been not happening. This is me double checking to make sure my mic is unmuted, because God forbid I muted again like a dumb idiot, dumb idiot. But biggest thing that we're going to start with this week is, as I'm sure you can see, we're going to be looking at this week's patch. They just have a small little video about them talking about it, Rock's talking about it, which is neat, but I always prefer text, just because I like to read things out at my own speed. But basically, we're getting the Elixir and Transcendence updates that Korea got, which means legendary elixirs are the only kind of elixir, and it will be available at 1600, which I think is a really good change and probably should have been in the game since elixirs existed. That's sort of my opinion. Splitting elixirs like they did has always been kind of a question mark. But either way, it's good that we are finally getting it. Or, I guess, getting it, period. And then the Transcendence update is, it will only be locked behind clearing Theamine, period. Not hard mode Theamine, which I think is really good. If I'm not mistaken, you still need to clear Gate 2 and Gate 3 to unlock level 5, 6, and 7, respectively. But it's normal rather than hard, which again, I think is a good thing. I don't think you should lock progression systems behind hard mode. It's just dumb, and it splits casuals, and you need casuals to keep a game alive, etc, etc. All that good shit. The material acquisition should be the big difference and the big draw between hard and normal, etc, all that good stuff. September is also going to include a variety of key events to help the player progress. We're getting a new progression event to reach 1620, so I assume it's going to be similar to the Descent into Darkness, Road to Theamine, Road to Soul Eater, whatever the fuck you want to call those events, which I think is good. We were promised one last patch, but we didn't get it in favor of an express event, rather. Either way, it's good to see that we're getting one. Oktoberfest is coming back, and it will grant key progression materials just from clearing daily activities, so I mean, I'm assuming it's another event shop. We're all familiar with event shops. No complaints there. More free materials is always good. Blooming Makoko Gold event will return. So that's the event where you go to the island, or not the island. It's where you go to, what the fuck was it? Lutera Port? And you just pick up Makoko seeds. And you have a chance of getting like the super mega lucky Makoko seed. If I'm not mistaken, that's the event. In the previous version of it was the one where you went to the island and you did the same thing. But the TLDR is you just pick random Makoko seeds once a day. You have a chance of hitting like a mega jackpot. Most of the time you're going to get like 5 gold coins or silver. But sometimes you hit the rare like 10 or 100k little jackpots, and it's fucking, how you say, PogChamp. Overall, I like the event. I think it's a fun little event. No complaints there. And then they say, events including Maharaka Festival, Super Makoko Express, Voltus Power Pass, and current daily playtime stuff will be extended until October 9th. Proving Ground Season 5 will also end on the 9th for the 3 people that PvP. And then Theamine, the first mode challenge, is going to remain open until October 30th, which is... It is what it is. And then the comments are, obviously, we want silver for Maharaka tokens. This is like the biggest sentiment that I've consistently seen over this past event. And honestly, I think it should just be standard. And what they mean by that, in case you're like not familiar, if you go into the game, here we go to the event shop. Usually, shops have a trade-in that you can get silver coins for. This shop does not, for whatever reason. And I'm of the opinion that every single event shop should have a silver turn-in thing. You can get feast materials here for sure, but I don't need, like, 3,000, 4,000 Maharaka secret powder. I just don't need that. It does not help me. Anyway, that's what they mean by silver. And I do agree that silver should be in all event shops, just period. There's no reason for it not to be. It's not even like it's that much silver. It's just nice to have. But it is what it is. Great changes. Nerfing Behemoth Gold was unnecessary. Yeah, they are nerfing Behemoth Gold. Because Behemoth... let me see if I can find the post that I read initially. Was it this one? Yeah, this one. That has some guy transcribing it in text, but Behemoth is staying 1620 even after we get tier 4. But they are going to be giving tier 4 materials from Behemoth. So it's been confirmed now that it's going to stay 1620, which I think is good, but because it's 1620, they nerf the gold of it, which is like, okay, I guess. The reason why I say it's staying 1620 is good rather than it getting an item level increase to 1640 is just that less HP, right? Less HP is good. It's more likely that it'll have less HP at 1620 than it does if it got increased to 1640 item level. Any hoosers. Behemoth is confirmed to stay 1620 and just give tier 4 mats when tier 4 comes out. Anyway. Let me see. There's another thing in here. Yeah, so this is the TLDR. We can also take a look at the actual, like, official patch notes, I guess. But it's just the same post that Rox posted on Reddit, so that's why I didn't bother. Aegir is confirmed for October 23rd. 23rd? It's 23rd. Transcendence and Elixir changes are coming in the patch on the 11th. Progression events on the 11th. All the events are extended until the 9th of October. Ignite servers are on October 9th as well with the Tier 4 update, which is when we're getting it. Behemoth is going to stay 1620 even after changing it into a Tier 4 raid. And then Blooming Makoko event will increase the amount of rewards and use bound gold. Very cool. And then the Transcendence changes are here. You can unlock level 6 by clearing Gate 2. And then level 7 still requires Gate 3, but it can be done in normal mode. Then the Elixirs, removing Epic Elixirs, etc., etc. But that's enough of that. And I think that's enough of this. Oh yeah, I think this has fallen off the radar with all the recent updates, but NAOS population still a huge issue. Desperately need region merge. I mean, I went from plugging literally everything to just not bothering because the lobbies are just not there. And I also don't I don't like making lobbies for Thea Echidna because it's not the same as it was for like Akon and Brel and Kaya and all the other raids. I don't know. It's hard to explain it, but they are not wrong. And I mean, today of all days is not the best day to show it because it's what? It's Tuesday at 4 p.m. I know. But the lobby amounts just aren't really here. Most of them are locked lobbies. Most of them are bus lobbies if they're not locked lobbies, like this one. You have one real normal mode lobby, which is pretty good. A Gate 4 lobby, which is honestly pretty good. And an actual 1-3 hard mode lobby, which honestly, this is like the best I could have asked for. Because most of the time when you open this, I don't cherry pick this shit. I just open it randomly. You don't see this. Most of the time, there's just no lobby up. But that's pretty good. Echidna. I'm actually surprised there's 0 Echidna buses up right now. But again, it's Tuesday at 4 p.m. So this is like mega not prime time. Honestly, I don't think there exists an NA West prime time anymore. I think it's mostly an Oceanic prime time. Even then, I don't know. Because sometimes I wake up at like 3 in the morning and I can't sleep, so I get on and it's still not much better. It's maybe a bit better, but not that much. And that is all to say that the game is not playable if you still want to play it. It just takes much more effort, and for me, that's not something that I enjoy doing. I don't like dealing with lobby simulator, and I never have. I've taken for granted the days of Belshazzar and Akon where I could just have a bunch of lobbies to choose from and pick the one that looks like not shit. I guess. Spec swapping will never be a thing unless the gem reroll system gets some kind of change. I thought this was a pertinent post, just because I kind of fully agree. I said it like the day tier 4 stuff was being revealed, and the whole like, oh, we want the arc passive to encourage like easy build swapping, and it's just like that's such bullshit. It's the same sort of deal with a lot of these games that give you like a massive skill tree, or like the illusion of choice is what I usually call it. Because realistically, you might have a couple different options that you can literally, in a literal sense, choose from, but realistically, there's one option. Sometimes you have like a situational second choice you could pick, but most of the time, you just have one option. Sure, you can pick the other ones, but why would you? And again, let me go back to the game, because I think tripods are another great showing of this. Like, are you really going to take something that isn't explosive strength for energy blast on this tier? Focus does a little bit of damage, but it does significantly less than this one. Concussion just gives you stagger. Technically, I have 3 options on tier 2 here, but do I really? No, man. That's how it feels. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad thing to give options, but I do think it's a bad thing to give options for the sake of giving options, if that makes sense. I think they need to be made with a purpose in mind. At least with the stagger tripod that I just showed, you could theoretically make an argument for it, even though I disagree with it. You could at least have a use case for it, but the secondary tripod is just a shittier damage version of the third tripod. You know what I mean? There's no reason to pick it under any circumstance, ever, for any reason. And that's kind of how I feel about the arc passive shit. And this isn't even talking about this. This is talking specifically about just swapping from like one engraving to the other. And it's just, again, not possible because you have to reroll the gems, and that's what this post is going over, which, again, I completely agree with. If you want to swap between EO and RS for Solstice, for example, you have to reroll your gems. You don't have to reroll all your gems, but you have to reroll some of them. And gems are expensive to reroll, especially since you can't just pick the skill you want to reroll to. It's annoying, and it's prohibitive to swapping builds. And I think all of these things are worth talking about, because it's just like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Gems should be slotted in the same way you put in runes. Then you don't need to put skills on gems. I think that'd be pretty cool, honestly. I fuck with that idea. I don't think they want you to swap freely between specs, to be honest. I mean, by the way that they design things, I agree, but when the whole idea behind the whole arc passive system was like more build flexibility, it's just like, what are we doing here? Small but big QOL suggestion: remove all trash mods from raids and give everyone full meter when you enter, maybe even on reset. Port straight into battle item workshop every gate. Don't want to think how much time that could save. Honestly, I'm not a fan of trash in raids in any game, but at least you can make the argument that trash has a purpose in other games, because you're able to typically get found items from the trash, like raid quality level loot from them on occasion that you can trade. So you can at least sort of make an argument that trash makes sense in like a vacuum then in some of those games, like WoW, for example. But in Lost Ark, it's just there to waste time. I agree, personally. Like, can you imagine if you had to do the intro Brel cutscene every single time you ran Brel Shaza? Because it was for a small period of time like that. The cutscene skip didn't used to exist when Brel first came out. That would be obnoxious. And that's just like one of the bigger offenders of it all. I don't know. I just wanted to put this up because I fully fucking agree. On the trash portion. I don't really give a shit about the stimulant thing, like the stimulant argument, because I don't necessarily agree with being able to stim before pull, but I also don't think it's like that big of a deal. If you want to spend a stimulant, go for it, I guess. But there's a lot of classes that just straight up can't stim before a pull, and like stimming before a pull just gives you an extra benefit to your class and spec. Rather than have to build meter, you're just immediately metering off the start. I don't know. It's a give and take. I don't have a horse in that race. I'm a soulfist, man. I can't use stimulants. I don't give a shit. And then this, I also wanted to post, just because we did end up getting the HP nerf, even though it wasn't in our patch notes. And then there's also some other slight alterations that we did get that they didn't translate over very well. Overall, we did get all of the nerfs that Korea got, even if they weren't fully translated over correctly. So I just wanted to throw this out here, just so everybody knows. And then this post, I thought it was fun, just to take a look at to end us off. What was your confidently incorrect take about Lost Ark? My confidently incorrect take about Lost Ark, man, I don't know. I think the biggest thing that I was just outright wrong about was how many bots exist in the game. Like, let me pull it up here. Swap over to this just so I can pull it up. So the Steam charts on Lost Ark. What we want to take a look at here is like back in February 2023 when it was like 200k still, or like 300k, 350k. Like, I knew a lot of these were bots, but when the bot ban wave happened and we lost like, I don't know, like fucking 70% of the active players, or the CCU, I guess I should say, that fucking shook me. I did not realize we had like, because obviously not all of them were bots, but a lot of the people, like a lot of the CCU that got shaved off in this period, absolutely were bots. I was fucking shook. And that's like probably my biggest thing that I was just like confidently incorrect about. Because I knew there was a lot of bots, but how could you expect, like, of this 330k player, or CCU number, that, like, 300k of them were bots, or 250k of them were bots? That's insane. Anyways, let's take a look. Anything else? At first, I didn't realize bards provided tag buffs. They focused only on shield and healing since they were explained as healers. Fair. Seems like some bards haven't figured that out. 10% crit chance. I thought the 10% crit on pet was 10% crit chance. Yeah, that's a really easy thing to mess up on if you're not really like in the know. It's 10% of the stat rather than 10% stat flat. Did they ever change the tooltip? No, not really. I mean, for some things it makes less sense, like spec. Plus 10% spec doesn't really make sense, but for like Swift, you could make an argument that it just means, oh, it gives you like 10% swiftness, so like 10% move speed, attack speed. And 10% crit is a fucking number, you know what I mean? So I can definitely understand why this happens. Pistoler Deadeye will be S tier DPS one day. I mean, used to be unplayable and now it's just not good, you know? During the beta, I was hooked on PvP, thought it was the main draw. God bless. T4 isn't anytime soon. Every class does roughly the same damage within 10% in in-game. God, that is so wrong. And the people who believe that are, I don't know, a special kind of special. The way I always liked seeing the meme explanation of this is technically every class is 10% within the next class. So, like, you have the top being 10% within the second being within 10% of the third percent being 10% within the fourth, etc., all the way down. So you have a massive fucking gap between the top and the bottom, which I always found funny. And it's not totally wrong, but being within the 10% of each other from the very top to the very bottom is just not true. It's never been true. Zoomin was trash at his job and ruined the game for a long time. Never mind, I was correct. So sad. I can take my time eventually, I'll catch up anyways. Yeah, I don't know. Lost Ark has never been this kind of game. Lost Ark is definitely a game that the more time you take off, the harder it can be to get back into the game based on what your own personal goals are. I think if you're not worried about, like, the latest in-game content and stuff, it can be totally reasonable to just not care, and it's just like you can take your time, do whatever the hell you want. But if you're somebody that likes to play games and like be at the end game of everything no matter what when you're playing, it can be very hard to get back there if you aren't somebody that spends a ton of money. I still think games are meant to be played for fun, so if you're not having fun, you should probably take a break, and if you end up coming back and it's just not being fun because you took a break, then I mean, you had a lot of fun with the game, take the fun you did have and, you know, find something else. That all raids are well designed and super fun, this is just not true either. The people who said all raids are good are just fucking wild to me. Honestly, Clown has been the best raid, and it's all been downhill ever since then, yuppers. That's my unpopular opinion. Anyways, that's gonna be it. I've yapped for about 20 minutes. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, as always, and thank you guys. Make sure you like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't, but if you want to see more daily bullshit from me, bigger number, better person. I love you all, and thank you for my YouTube members. Of course, consider becoming a member. I appreciate all of you. Blitz will remix my life. I'm Nufu, Arizike. It's Biscuits Inner Diz. Love you all. Mwah. I'm outie. Bye.